Alright, so today we're gonna play the Great Wheel of Warhammer and see who we get to try out this week. Come on! Big money, big money, big money, big funny money, big smelly money of the level 12 variety. Ooh, Dark Elves. They're kind of evil, but you know what? Maybe I can make them cute and fluffy with my powers. I believe in me. Okay, let's check them out. Well, alright then, let's get right into it, huh? Let's get right big into it with my little paws. Anyway, so, man, that's what I was saying. What is it with Dark Elves and elves in general in Warhammer Fantasy and having these huge dumb hats? They just love their huge dumb hats. It's like one of their favorite things. So immediately, when I knew I was going to do Dark Elves, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do Malakath and I don't want to do Marathi. They're weird. And I just started clicking through. And it's like, okay, so there's Crone, I don't really want to be her. Then there's some dude who has like a really spiky helmet. Don't really want to do him. So I was kind of down to Loki or Fellheart or Mal's Darkblade. Now, Mal's Darkblade, if you don't know, is one of the edgiest characters in Warhammer Fantasy. If you read his stories, it is just pure unbridled edge. His favorite thing is to be edge. He's a dark elf guy who loves collecting slaves and doing all this stuff, but he has a magic demon in his sword and it makes him even edgier. And I was like, okay, so I already knew what I was in for. Look, Dark Elves, I think a lot of their stuff looks really good, except for their commanders. And sometimes there's just too many spikes. There will be so many spikes on things. It looks like if they curled up into a ball and rolled at you, it would be a deadly implement. But yeah, so I decided, as we're trying this out, I'm like, okay, well, we'll go with Mal's Darkblade, and we'll just, run through this and see how it is. Now, I'll say right off the bat, I think that a lot of their units look really cool. But of course, for those of you who watch my other stuff related to Warhammer, if you saw my thing with Chaos Dwarves, where I was going to play Chaos Dwarves for the playthrough, and I tried them out, I was like, nope. Yeah, these guys are kind of similar, but since it was just like a one-off, I felt less weird about like, okay, I have to have like a slave faction type deal or like a slaver faction type deal. Really just not into that whole thing. It starts to feel kind of like lame and stuff to me, and I don't know, not super encouraging. But these guys, I don't know what it is. It was easier to handle from these guys, I think, because they're just so over the top that every time I look at anything they do, I'm just like, I just like want to laugh. It's like it's hard to take it seriously. And then half of Mal's Darkblade's lines as I'm playing him, it's like I can feel the demon overtaking me. It's just like, what is this, bud? In terms of actual play style, they were pretty interesting. I at first didn't know what the heck I was doing with the Black Ark. It was cool once I figured it out and I moved it closer to the armies that I was actually using so that I could have them, like show up and do all their each individual thing and like have them help out. Or like, well, basically what you do is if you have them closer, you can recruit all kinds of different units, like directly from the Black Ark. And I was like, oh, cool. And once I figured that out, I was like, okay, this is really useful. Playing Mal's Darkblade, I was immediately surrounded by just a bunch of Chaos factions because I'm in the Chaos Wastes. And my short-term goal in my brain was to go into the map and destroy everything from like up there all the way deck down to near Nagarond, where I still had stuff controlled. I found out by playing, well, just a couple of factions that do this thing where you spawn way far away, but you still have something back in your, like, homeland type deal, that it's, I haven't really seen much of a reason to abandon those. Like, okay, yeah, 20,000 gold could be good for a short-term thing. However, it doesn't actually seem like it's that useful unless you're, like, you need something, like, right that second. And so that's why I don't tend to take those offers. I tend to just have both. It was also kind of interesting because, like, At first, a bunch of them were like, okay, and now we have non-aggression pact. You can't attack us. And I was like, okay, whatever. But then as I pushed further west, a bunch of them were like suddenly like, okay, non-aggression pact over, and now we're your enemy. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't really feel bad about killing demons. So that was cool, at least. I wouldn't have that thing I've had in some campaigns where I'm like, well, I don't really want to invade the cool people who are just hanging out, not really doing anything. Like, even if my rule would clearly be way better than theirs, because, you know, cat wisdom and power. But, yeah, I also think that some of their stuff was pretty cool. Malice has this little thing where you can see at the top of the screen there, basically that's the amount of possession he has, and like it was at a 6, but you can drink the potion anytime you want, and it reduces it. If you let it go forward, it increases his physical attack and does something else. I will say, I don't know if his dialogue got more annoying if I let him get more possessed, but my god, did he love just saying, I can feel it coming out of me. It was just like so much, and he just kept doing it. And I think it's just kind of, excuse me, it was just kind of a bit much, but if I'm honest, I think Dark Elves are just over the top. I think when I think of Dark Elves in this setting, it's the same thing I think of like a lot of Chaos factions as well, where it's just like, it's just over the top. At a certain point, it doesn't even feel evil. It just starts to feel like a little kid's version of evil, where it's just like, and then I had slaves, and then I was darkness, and then I had spikes, and then there were more spikes on top of my slaves. It's like, what? What's happening? What? And it kind of just kept going. I ended up having a pretty big cover because I only had like one and kind of a half army for a good portion of my play. But I did find, like with most groups, it's pretty good to have at least 2 armies set up. If for no other reason than, like, in this space, it's really easy to just defend my borders by having 1 on each side, because this is just, you know, like I take over everything and go east and west, and there's not really like a northern southern separation, so I didn't really have to worry about that. You also start out with an ally in Malakath who's like, I want to build things, and I just built an outpost because it kept asking me to build an outpost. I'm like, do I need an outpost? What are they offering me that I can't just build myself? And eventually later on down the line, it was kind of cool to get like some shades, but like for a good portion of the game, it just didn't really seem like it mattered that much. Of course, they have the whole thing where you have to get more slaves to do more rituals and things like that, and the rituals are useful as one of the unique elements. I think, honestly, they still feel a lot like regular elves. It's just they have a couple of slightly different elements. Like, it's just the spooky version of elves, and it's like, oh, cool. I will say, it kind of makes you want to try out Wood Elves to see how different each one feels. Now, for this in particular, part of it, I think, is that I started out as Malice Darkblade instead of, like, Malakath or something like that. So I was kind of up in this area doing, you know, just fighting demons, so I didn't feel terribly bad about that. And, you know, you take slaves from demons, I mean, I don't know, that it just feels at least slightly less bad. And I didn't really, the only humans I interacted with up here were a bunch of Norskins who seemed to want to stab me anyway. So I was like, oh, okay, I mean, I guess that we're doing this anyway. I will say, a lot of their lions on a lot of these were just very edgy, no matter what. But like I said, that's just kind of what I came to expect. So sometimes I was just like, the people, there's a vile curse. Like when I click on the cities and they're just like going off, man. It's just like, man, I bet that voice actor had a great time. And I'm so glad they had such a good time. That's so nice. And like everything is about like, I am the tyrant of Hagrif, or tyrant of Nagaroth, and all this other stuff is like, okay. Whatever you say, evil Canadians, because you know they're kind of in like what would essentially be like Warhammer Fantasy Canada. But no, overall though, I'd still say that they seem kind of fun. I still don't know if I would really want to play a full campaign with these guys, just because, like I said, very evil, and evil isn't really my thing. However, they do have some fun units. I have occasionally considered seeing if I can find either some executioners or some blackguard, but like 3D printed versions. I'm not going to pay whatever exuberant price GW wants for those. I'm just not going to do it. But I want to see if I can find some good 3D sculpts and then, you know, get them printed and paint those up. I think that might be cool. Same with Chaos Dwarves, where I think Chaos Dwarves look cool. It's just that they're just major assholes. But, you know, hey, it is what it is, man. I have also had like a one Dark Elf character in the past who was a lady who kind of like decided that like being so evil didn't really seem like it was getting her anywhere. And she left because, you know, I like characters getting redeemed. Anyway, I would say that these guys were pretty cool overall, pretty neat. I like a lot of their units and a lot of ways they work. The slave mechanic isn't really my favorite, but bleh, whatever. And yeah, it was just one edge fest after another, man. Like every other thing they were saying was just like, okay, I get it. Yes, you're very, very edgy, and you smell vaguely of. You kind of smell vaguely of like shoe polish, but like it's not for shoes, for blades. Is there a particular kind of blade polish? I don't know. Anyway, they smelled like knives. So so that was kind of the experience I had with these guys. I think they are fine, and I'd probably still prefer them over most of the Chaos factions. But I don't know, because I haven't played the Chaos factions. You know, next time Wheel of Warhammer, maybe we'll get another Chaos faction. We can see what happens there. Anyway, that's all in this category for now. But now we have one other thing to run to. So, what we have here is a ranking tier list. And it has all the factions. Isn't that cool and neat and fun? I think it is. So I thought it would be kind of fun to add this little element to where each time after we go through a particular faction, we can add them here to the list. And the only problem with that is I don't remember what the symbol for everybody is. So I'm just going to go with the one I know immediately right now, which is, so this is Hag Grief. I think the lowest you can do is D. So I'm going to go with B-, I guess, here. They're not really my favorite. I think they're, in terms of an evil faction, they're probably one of the ones I would still play again for no other reason than they were so edgy that it was kind of fun to not even have to bother trying to take them seriously. This, I believe, is the Bretonian faction I'm playing right now. I think I would rank them in S tier. And let's see, where is it? Golden Order. Golden Order, I greatly enjoy. And there was one other one I wanted to put way up there. I don't know if this is the symbol for Tyrion, but I think, actually, you know what, here we're gonna put the. So right now, this is kind of where I would rank these guys. If I were to go through and do all the factions I have currently, you know, why don't we do that? Okay, so this is the 5 I'm going to rank for right now, because I just realized that this one doesn't seem to have the DLC stuff or the Chaos Dwarves, which is fine. But honestly, these 4 up here are the ones I rather like. This one, I'm going to actually put it in C tier, where I think it's passable, but if I had a choice, I would probably, I don't know if I would play Dark Elves. But anyway, that's all I got for now. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day, and I hope that you know that I love you and God loves you, and bye-bye, love you, bye. Have a great one, bye.